he's a personal trainer who's purposely making himself fat so that he can turn right around and get fit again. And I went, what? That's the most stupid thing I think I've ever heard. But then I went to his website. It's fit2fat2fit.com. So fit2fat2fit.com. And you can read all about Drew's amazing story of where he's literally gone from a fit person. In May of 2011, he was absolutely buff, and you can see the picture of him there. Dude works out. Dude definitely takes care of himself. But as of right now, if you saw him, you scroll down a little more, you see he's not that fit individual anymore, and he's made himself fat. And so we're here today to talk to Drew to see why in the world he would put himself through this and what he hopes to accomplish to it. So, Drew, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So you're a personal trainer, and tell us how you got interested in the subject of fitness. Have you just always been into fitness?
Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I grew up playing football and wrestling all throughout my, elementary school years to high school to college even. And so I've always been into fitness, but I didn't get into the whole personal training side of it until probably about 3 years ago when I got certified to become a personal trainer. And then that's where it really clicked and kind of, I knew it was my passion at that point.
Yeah. So you have all these clients that you see. What would you say is probably the number one thing you see amongst your clients? Is it obesity or is it just a general needing to get into shape?
No, there was a couple obese, but most of it was just generally trying to get in shape, just trying to lose some weight, trying to get a little bit more lean muscle mass. But it just depended on the client. So it was pretty well-rounded as far as the type of clients I had.
Yeah. Now, how old are you?
30 years old.
Okay. So you're a 30-year-old personal trainer doing all the things to help your clients. And I see a personal trainer at my local gym. Love her. She does a great job, helps me kind of reach my goals, and mine are primarily strength. I just want to be stronger. And she does a good job with that. And I'm sure you're doing the same with your clients. But back in May, you came up with this idea, and it had to have happened in your head a long, long, long time ago. But you came up with this idea, you know what? I'm going to make myself fat on purpose.
Yeah. Sounds
what
crazy.
were you thinking?
I know, it was a crazy idea. There was a couple of reasons I decided to do it. One was, I actually do personal training part-time. I have a full-time job in the medical field on top of personal training.
Oh, wow.
And so I felt like I could only impact maybe a handful of people at a time. And it just, for me, I wanted to be influence more people and be a larger impact on people's lives. So, I just, one day sitting at home thinking of ideas, I just came up with this crazy idea. What if I started a website? I let myself go for a period of time and blogged about it and had people follow me. And it kind of clicked and I got excited about it. I started telling people about it. And obviously their first reaction was like yours, like, what? That is so stupid. That's crazy. But you know what? For me, I felt like, you know what? This might inspire people to live differently. And then at the same time, it would give me a better perspective of what it's like to be overweight because I've never had a struggle with it. And for me, from the personal training perspective, it gets so frustrating working with clients that just, won't do what you tell them to. You tell them to eat this, not that, but they do opposite sometimes. And, you ask them why they didn't go to the gym that day, and it would be frustrating. But so I felt like I didn't really connect or understand what some of my clients went through. So those were the two main reasons.
Yeah. So as of right now, which we recorded this in early November, but as of right now, you went from a weight of 193 pounds on a 6'2" body frame to now, what is your current weight?
269.
269 pounds. So your waist went from 34.5 to 47.5, and hips went from 39.5 to 50. I mean, dramatic changes in your body. Now let's back up. How'd you get fat?
It was actually pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people didn't think I would be able to because they're like, oh, it's just genetics. You won't be able to get fat. But no, what I decided to do is for 6 months, let myself go with no exercise during those 6 months.
Okay.
And then also I wanted to focus on the typical American diet, which is the highly processed foods that we are addicted to here in America. So all the cheap, the tasty, the convenient foods you can buy at a supermarket. So that's what I wanted to focus on. Yeah. But I didn't, like, people ask me like, oh, so you're doing what the supersized guy did. And I'm like, no, I'll have fast food maybe once or twice a week. But the most of the stuff I eat is the typical American foods, like sugary cereals, sodas, chips, white breads, white pastas, juices, granola bars, the things we eat every day. A lot of us do, at least.
Well, and some so-called healthy things like the granola bars and the juice.
Yes, exactly. People consider those sometimes to be healthy, and they can be somewhat in moderation, but I just think that we eat too much of it.
I bet the thing that drove you the nuts the most as a personal trainer and as an avid exerciser was not being able to exercise.
Yeah, because I felt like I was really addicted, honestly, to working out and being the healthy guy. And, if I went a day or two without exercising, or, if I felt like I was going through withdrawals. And so the first 2 months were probably the hardest.
Yeah.
I would become super jealous of seeing people that were in shape, or seeing people exercise or going to the gym. So I really felt like I went through withdrawals those first 2 months.
So as you were gaining weight, what did your medical colleagues think about what you were doing?
Well, from a medical perspective, obviously it's not very safe. So they thought it was crazy, of course. They're just like, look, you need to be careful. And, I work with a lot of doctors, and they told me the same thing. And that's kind of their job.
Yeah.
Is to, from a medical perspective, to tell you that it's not healthy. But I figured a lot of people, millions of other people, live like this for maybe years or even decades.
Oh, I did. I did for many years, and got up to 410 pounds at one point in my life, Drew.
Really?
And was able to lose almost 200 pounds by making, just a few small changes in my diet that shifted away from that standard American diet to one that's more right for me. And I think that's probably something that you would encourage people to do, is find what will work for you to not make you look like that Drew in October of 2011.
Yeah, exactly.
So your original goal was to gain around 50 to 60 pounds, but you surpassed that.
Yeah, I guess I'm an overachiever. But
almost 80 pounds.
Yeah, almost 80 pounds. I had no idea I would gain that much weight that quickly, especially based on the foods that I'm eating. Yeah. Once a week, I do a food challenge, which I do eat an extreme amount of food, but that's mostly for entertainment purposes. That is kind of separate from my whole message. But 6.5 days out of the week, I'm eating the other foods. So I was surprised how quickly I put on the weight, and this much weight in 6 months.
How many calories do you think you were consuming a day in the midst of this weight gain?
Probably between 4,000 to 5,000 calories.
And mostly carbohydrate is what I'm hearing.
Yes, highly processed carbohydrates, all those refined sugars you find in all the white breads and Twinkies and things like that.
Yeah, so white flour, white sugar, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, it certainly is what a lot of people, unfortunately, and I guess this is your point, Drew, what a lot of people subsist on.
Exactly.
And they do it because it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's convenient as well.
It tastes good.
Yeah.
Or you think it tastes good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because I can tell you, I used to think, ho-hos and ding-dongs and Coca-Cola were God's gift to this earth, until I realized I didn't really need those things anymore. And you come off of those, and you're about to experience that here real soon. When you start coming off of it, you start having withdrawals from it. But then after a while, you're like, you know what? I don't really need that stuff anymore anyway.
Yeah. I think over a while, after you change your habits, the addictions, your cravings change. Just like any other drug, you go through withdrawals, and it's tough. It's hell. And, so I'm kind of worried about that part of it, to be honest with you, when I start hearing a little bit. But I think as you change your habits, slowly your taste starts to change as well, your taste buds, and you don't crave those things, as much as you did before over time. But it requires a lifestyle change. It's not just going on a quick fad diet to lose as much weight in like 2 months. It's a lifestyle change. Kind of like what you did.
Absolutely. And totally was a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think you put on so much weight so fast? What do you think the mechanism was? Was it excess insulin? Was it just the general slothfulness? Was it the overconsumption of calories? Combination of all those things?
Yeah, it was the perfect storm of that type of lifestyle, the slothful, sedentary lifestyle of no exercise. I would go do my job. I would come home, lay on the couch. My only exercise was maybe mowing the lawn, which has become tough, which is kind of funny. But and then also the diet that I was on. I mean, the type of foods that I was eating, it was just a perfect storm, and it blew people away with how quickly I was able to put on the weight, and how much weight I've gained in just 6 months. So I think it was the overall lifestyle.
Now, tell us about some of the physiological changes that have happened, because obviously you've had to buy whole new clothes. Mm-hmm. You've had to be aware of getting in and out of a car or sitting in a seat that you used to be able to sit in, didn't even think twice about sitting in it fine. And now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's tight. Tell us about some of those things.
Sure. I started noticing that even like, in the first few weeks, I started noticing changes as far as things not fitting right. I started noticing like my cardio, my endurance levels were not what it used to be. That actually went pretty quickly in the beginning. And then as far as like my self-consciousness, that played I was used to wearing kind of tighter fitting clothes, being the fit guy, and I felt confident. And then, after a few weeks, even only gaining maybe 15, 20 pounds, I felt like I was the fat guy now, and so being out in public was hard. And then over time, it got to the point where I was even embarrassed to be like in front of my wife. And, I was feeling self-conscious in front of her, even though, we're married and she's seen me, before. But it got to that point where, I was, to try and even cover up around her.
Now, your wife has got to think you've gone and lost your mind.
Yeah. Yep. She's I actually feel bad for her. She's actually had to put up with a lot more than she thought she was going to have to.
Yeah.
She thought I'd just get fat real quick and then I get fit. But no, it's taken a toll on not only her, but us as a couple, because she tries to be healthy and she likes to work out and, I can't. So it's taken a toll. It takes a toll on a relationship when one person's overweight and lives a certain lifestyle and the other person's trying to be healthy and lives a different lifestyle. So it definitely causes tension sometimes, and she'll admit that. And, we've talked about that with all these other shows we've been on. Yeah. People always want to get her perspective. And so she'll be the first to admit that it's tough.
Well, and from a mental standpoint, even beyond the relational with your wife, from a mental standpoint, being fat wears on you. I can attest to that from being that way for decades. But you're doing it here for 6 months. Do you think you'll get a real proper perspective on what it feels like to be obese, just doing this as an experiment over a short period of time when there's people that have dealt with this for a lifetime?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Yeah. Basically, you're gaining weight and you're experiencing what it's like to be obese for a short period of time.
Right.
But how do you relate that to people who have had to live with this for their entire lives?
You know what? I actually don't think I'll ever be able to relate completely. And I've said that from the beginning. I'll never know what it's like for someone that's been overweight for years or decades, or, someone that's been 400 pounds. There's no amount of time or no amount of weight that I could gain to really gain that perspective. And even so, someone that's 300 pounds probably doesn't have an understanding of what it's like for someone that's 500 pounds. They probably have a better understanding than someone that had been fit their whole life. But that's just it. Like for me, I felt like it gave me a better understanding. Like I came to the realization of just how real the addictions and cravings really are. And that really opened up my eyes. But I'm not going to, say to people, look, I know what it's like now because I gained 70 plus pounds in 6 months. I'm not going to even try and go there.
Yeah. So, Drew, I assume, by the time this airs, you will be on your way, hopefully, back down to fit again.
Yeah.
It's the week of Thanksgiving that this airs, which is kind of interesting. What are you going to eat for Thanksgiving?
That's a good question. You know what? I've thought about that. And that people say, well, why don't you just start this in January after the holidays? And I've thought about that. I'm like, you know what? No, I think this is an opportunity for me to show people you can still eat healthy and still, have a good Thanksgiving or, Christmas or whatever, the holidays. You can still eat certain things and still stay somewhat healthy over the holidays. We don't have to let ourselves go and stuff our face to the brim, so this will be a good opportunity to show people how to stay healthy even over the holidays.
Yeah. So are you going to go back to the diet? I assume you were just eating on a normal basis for you to lose the weight, or are you going to do a little more aggressive plan to kind of counteract this letting yourself go?
I don't plan on doing anything extreme. Okay. I do plan on doing a cleanse in the beginning just to kind of flush everything out, for the first couple days or something. But I plan on living somewhat similar of a diet routine that I was living before. But you have to remember, before I had a lot of muscle mass, and I was eating actually probably around 3,000 calories just to maintain that muscle mass. Yeah. But now that I'm trying to lose the weight, I'll probably have to adjust a little bit and adjust my caloric intake a little bit lower to lose the weight. But I don't plan on going to extreme. I don't plan on starving myself. Like we've talked about, the lifestyle change. And that's why I plan on focusing on how important your diet is. Actually, the first month, I plan on just changing my diet. I'm actually not going to implement exercise just yet, and not until the second month, just to stress the importance of your diet. Kind of like you said you lost 200 pounds just by tweaking your diet. That's what I want to get. That's what I want people to understand and get.
Yeah, when I was 4'10", I couldn't even walk on a treadmill for more than 10 minutes without going. So yeah, I didn't even try for the first month. I was just like, okay, I've got to kind of get my mindset straight that I got to lose the old habits of eating first and get my nutrition right. And then exercise will come in to complement those things I'm doing with my nutrition.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to try to do as well.
Exactly. Yep.
So tell us what it looks like. What's it going to look like to make you went from fit to fat, but let's get you back to fit again. What does that look like for Drew Manning?
So one thing that I want to stress, first of all, is that my meal plans, my workouts are customized towards me.
Yep.
It's not a one size fits all kind of thing where, this will work for everybody. I don't want to come across and say that. People need to adjust accordingly, but for me, my diet is focused on high protein, high fiber, very low or zero processed foods, and no dairy, mostly because I'm lactose intolerant, and minimal grains. And that's basically my plan. I won't go into too many details, but people will be able to access my specific meal plans on my website and for free, and they could follow and see exactly what I do, what I eat, when I eat it. And that goes for the workouts as well. They can see exactly what I'm doing for my workouts. Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, did you happen to take any video? I saw the very first video where you were eating the donuts, but did you happen to take any video of yourself when you were eating, gaining weight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I made a couple videos called Daily Chow that kind of showed a typical day of what I would eat throughout the day. And so there's a few of those kind of showing people, look, this is what I'm eating. And a lot of people wrote in and said, you know what, I eat exactly the same way.
Yeah. Now, you've had the opportunity to be on Leno. You've been on the Dr. Oz show and all these national media places. And so mission accomplished if you were trying to get the attention of people out there. That's exactly what you've done. Do you feel like that this has been a success thus far in the fit to fat part?
Yeah, obviously, how could I say that it hasn't? I had no idea this would strike such a chord in the media, like where it just blew up, to be honest with you. I had no idea it would get this much attention. I figured maybe I'd make it on the local news or maybe some kind of smaller show. I had no idea it would get this big. But for me, I'm okay with the publicity just because, like I said before, the whole purpose of the second half of the journey is to invite as many people as possible to join me on that journey so that we're doing it together. So the more publicity I can get, the more people I can get to join me on the journey and say, you know, let's do this together. Let's get healthy together. So I'm okay with the publicity and I would definitely say it's a success, but I would lie if I said I expected this kind of publicity.
Well, Drew, and you have no idea how many people are going to flock to your message come January just because of what that represents in our culture. You know, by that time you will have been in your back to fit mode again for a couple months. You will have hopefully lost, 20, 25 pounds, whatever by then. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like really attuned to what you're doing and really paying attention. It's going to explode on you at the beginning of 2012.
Yeah. I mean, and it's already blown me away with how much attention it's got. I mean, I have tens of thousands of people following me, not only here in America, but all over the world. I can't believe how much international attention it's gotten. Oh, yeah. I just did a Skype interview with a big news station in Brazil, and I've done radio interviews with Ireland and the UK and New Zealand. And so it's just crazy how much international attention it's gotten. So I'm already blown away with how popular this is getting.
Well, the really cool thing, I was really attracted to your story, was that you're not just doing this for showmanship. It looks like you truly do care about this issue to the point that you came up with a fundraiser you're calling Pledge for Pounds, which is a fight against childhood obesity, making a donation to the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. And so you've got a nice little link on your website, again, fit2fat2fit.com for people to check out, where people can make donations where 100% of the proceeds will go towards this cause. So you definitely are bringing a heart to it and not just doing it for publicity's sake.
Yeah, thanks for letting me throw this in there. I really, really appreciate you letting me bring this up because I haven't had the chance in a lot of the interviews I've done, actually. But no, I thought about this idea from the beginning, and the Alliance for a Healthier Generation has been awesome to let me do this. So basically the Pledge for Pounds fundraiser is asking people to pledge a certain dollar amount per pound that I lose during my fat to fit stage. And then 100% of the proceeds will be donated to the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, which is a national organization that is founded by the American Heart Association that focuses on helping prevent childhood obesity in this country. And for me, that's something I believe in and part of my message. And another thing that I'm actually going to be doing by the time this airs will be ready to go is I plan on selling T-shirts because people have been demanding T-shirts. But what I've decided to do is to sell the T-shirts and donate 100% of the profits to the Alliance for a Healthier Generation to further contribute to the cause. And I've had so many people ask me, like, well, we want a T-shirt, with the logo and, all this stuff, that people that are going to be joining me. So I think that's something else that'll be really cool. That'll be coming up here pretty soon once the T-shirts start rolling out.
So what size T-shirt would you have to wear today if you were wearing one?
You know what? I've gotten to the point where XXL is starting to get tight.
Yeah.
And so probably I'd probably have to start out with somewhere like XXL or even XXL, which is kind of hard for me to even think about that I have to say that. For me.
I had 5XL at one time, so I understand how that feels. Well, I mean, certainly you are doing, fabulous work trying to promote this message. Is there a book in the works if this is a successful venture?
I've had a lot of demand from people saying, you have to do a book, you have to do a book. And I guess I don't know if I'm allowed to say it yet, but yes, there is a book in the work. Cool. I'll have to check with my publicist to see if that's okay. But yes, there is a book in the work. And I think, I try and meet the demands of my followers as far as what, if a mass majority of them demand something that I think is a good idea, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So
now, One thing we haven't talked about, because there's one thing to talk about weight and one thing to talk about your appearance and everything, but what about the key health markers? And a lot of the people I talk to on this show, you eat tons of refined carbohydrates and junk food like you did. Your trigs are through the roof. Your LDL has gone up. Your HDL has gone way down. I mean, have you had any of that measured since you started doing all this?
Yes. You know what? Actually, I'm actually meeting with my doctor today, and we've met a couple times in the past, and we plan on meeting once a month on my journey back. So we can we're going to create a baseline here since I'm nearing the end of my fat stage.
Yep.
And my doctor, Dr. Willie, he's been monitoring. He does an extensive blood work, not only on my cholesterol levels like HDL, LDL, but, my glucose levels, my triglycerides. He also tests my testosterone levels and my kidneys and my liver. And he's actually even going to do an ultrasound today to show how my liver has transformed over the past 6 months. And then we'll do a follow-up each month on the journey back to show how your diet and exercise will change all that. And it's all reversible.
I cannot imagine what your trigs are like. They've got to be at least 300 or 400.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were a month ago. I don't have it with me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's cool.
But yeah, actually, sorry. What the most worrisome thing is my triglycerides were high. I don't think they were off the charts though. Just because I think I started from a really healthy standpoint.
Yeah.
But my blood pressure was 161 over 113 a couple weeks ago. Wow. Which is obviously high. And then my doctor said my kidneys, even though I don't drink alcohol, are that of an alcoholic, are my kidneys because of the soda I've been drinking. I drink soda every day now. I've kind of forced myself in the beginning, but now I have to have it at least twice a day. Otherwise I get the headaches. I get grumpy, moody. So he's actually going to talk about that, throughout my journey to show how bad, even though I don't drink alcohol, how bad, this stuff is on my kidneys and other organs.
And your blood sugar?
Yeah, he'll be testing that as well. I don't know the numbers offhand right now. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No. You're good. I'm just from what you've been eating and my own experience and talking to people, insulin's gone through the roof. Yeah. Blood sugar's gone through the roof. I'd love to see a 5-hour GTT.
Yeah. I don't know. Let me talk to my doctor. He's actually here today to see if he is up for that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be very telling. And if you're experiencing any hypoglycemia it would just be so telling, Drew. I mean, you've got so much here to work with, and these next 6 months are critical because this is the end game for your journey. Because it's one thing to call your website Fit2Fat2Fit.
Yeah.
If you don't get the last 2 fit in there again.
Exactly. I know. I'm confident I'll be able to do it. But I do have my moments of doubt. I'm not going to lie, just because I really feel like the addiction is real.
Yeah.
But we'll see once I start. But the fact that thousands are following me will help me push through it, I think, help motivate me. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. The accountability is a huge thing. I didn't start blogging until after I lost all my weight. But I know a lot of people that do start blogs and podcasts and things like that as a means for motivation. So certainly you do have the eyeballs upon you, and we certainly wish you well. I definitely want to have you back on later in 2012 after all this is over and you're able to, absorb everything. And hopefully by that point you're back down to your 193 again and that buff body that you posted on your website. And I'm curious, how quickly did your 6-pack go away?
I think it was gone at the 6 or 7 week range. Wow. So just a little over a month. My 6-pack was gone, and then came the love handles, and then the man boobs, and the big butt.
And welcome to the typical American. Thank you very much. Well, you are certainly no typical American, and we appreciate all the great work you're doing, at least bringing attention to this issue that is so vitally important for people. And we thank you, Drew Manning, for being here today on the Livin La Vida Low-Carb Show. Again, we invite people to visit Fit2Fat2Fit DrewManning.com.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.